a right-wing Republican has hatched a plan to stop Bernie Sanders in Nevada by turning out Republicans to vote against him. So now that's interesting. You would think, of course, that the ultimate plan would be to do a Pied Piper strategy, where they would say, oh no, Republicans, vote for Bernie Sanders so that he can lose to Donald Trump. Tells me that they're a little bit nervous. So let me give you some details here about this. So now, this is Tim Miller. Tim Miller is a former Jeb. Well, he had worked for Jeb's presidential campaign. That's Jeb Bush. Okay. And so, this guy.
Please clap.
Right. So Tim Miller worked for this guy and had also spread anti-Semitic tropes about George Soros back in 2018. This guy is now behind a dark money effort in Nevada to turn out Republican voters to vote against Bernie Sanders in the caucuses in Nevada. So now he is one of the directors of the new company Center Action Now, and they are targeting Bernie Sanders in Nevada. Now, the Nevada Independents reported on this. This is from Megan Messerly. And they said the Center for Action Now memo that they had reported on details plans to mobilize right-wing voters in the state dissatisfied with President Donald Trump to weigh in on the primary to ensure the Democratic Party doesn't stray from the center-right lane. So what they want, of course, is to elevate, to try to stop Bernie Sanders and to make sure the Democratic Party elevates someone like a Pete Buttigieg or a Michael Bloomberg, right? A center-right Republican, center-right Democrat, or maybe even like an A.B. Klobuchar, so that they could be served up to Donald Trump. So, and of course, Donald Trump would win. Look, and even if he doesn't win in that case, especially when you're talking about Michael Bloomberg, well, the rich are going to still be protected. Tax cuts are still going to be in effect. Taxes will still stay low. That's the entire reason that Michael Bloomberg is running in the first place, is to make sure that basically nothing changes. So now, let me go to Miller here, and he's saying, quote, the voters we're talking to, they're not happy with the state of the Republican Party. They're not happy with the president. Okay, well, that would suggest to me that maybe you should clean up your own damn fascist party. I'm just saying, if you're unhappy with Donald Trump, maybe you should clean up your own house instead of trying to knock down the Democrats' house. I'm just saying. But again, he says, we're educating them to get involved in the democratic process so they can back a candidate they can be happy about and that they can support. Anybody but Bernie is what they're saying. So now these never Trump Republicans, again, instead of fixing the dumpster fire that is their own party, they are literally coming to try to take over the Democratic Party and to prevent Bernie Sanders. As such, Center Action is running ads in Nevada against Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. Now, the group has plans to mobilize against Democratic presidential primary candidate Bernie Sanders in the state's 2020 caucuses, according to Miller. In addition to the Nevada Independent, according to the Nevada Independent, in addition to Miller, Sarah Longwell, political strategist and another never Trump Republican, and John Stubbs, a former official in the George W. Bush administration, who founded a Republicans for Hillary group in 2016. Oh, dear God. Now serve on the nonprofit's board of directors. Now, this is a dark money group, so we don't know who's funding it, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of shady billionaires putting in their shady money because these billionaires would lose a little bit and have to pay more in taxes. So they're, they've already spent about $13,000 on ads the day before and the day of the New Hampshire primary. Now, the Nevada campaign, Miller said, would begin imminently. Now, the kinds of ads they ran against Sanders in New Hampshire is about what you would expect from Republicans, okay? According to the article, they used Soviet imagery and scare tactics around socialism to discourage voters from voting for the Vermont senator. In a comment to courts, Miller said the Center Action's now efforts to get out the right-wing vote were aimed at providing voters with a choice. So they run these ads, right? That, oh my, if you vote for Bernie Sanders, you're voting for socialism, communism, eating rats, Venezuela, which is basically all they have, right? Uh, and then they say, oh, us? No, we're not red baiting. No, all we're doing is we're just giving Republican voters a choice to go and mess up with the Democrats. Okay, then. Now, he says, but wait. We're not like the other conservative groups. Oh, no. He said, this is not akin to conservative talk show host Hugh Hewitt going on TV saying Trump supporters should vote for the weakest Democrats to help him. That's considered meddling, and that is something we, as honorable Republicans and conservatives, we would never do. Quote, the people we are trying to talk to are voters who don't like the president, who want him to be defeated, people who are concerned that both parties have succumbed to the extremes. Look, and if you're on social media, Twitter especially, you would see this talking point all the time. I can't believe the Democrats would go so extreme as to actually try to advocate for health care for everybody. Oh, how terrible. I mean, this is something that only, 32 out of the 33 advanced developed countries in the world could master universal health care for everybody. I mean, it completely impossible. Pipe dream. Can't do it. How crazy. No, you have to understand, to the rest of the world, we're the crazy ones because we treat our own citizens like garbage. We let them die because they can't afford health care. We bill them tens of thousands of dollars for being unlucky enough to have gotten hurt and taken to a hospital that was out of your goddamn network. Or even if you were lucky enough to go to the right hospital network, the surgeon that saw you that day was not part of your network. And so, sad day for you, you're on the hook for tens of thousands, possibly more. What kind of system is that? What kind of system? It's garbage. So, let me tell you who's extreme, the people who defend that. And so this both sides are crazy talking point is ridiculous. The Republicans have gone completely off the rails, and you had the Democrats for years chasing after them. Here's what the progressive movement's trying to do. We're trying to pull it back to, back to normalcy, right? Back to the actual center, which is where Bernie Sanders currently is. And look, progressive policy has massive populist support. 70% want Medicare for all. A vast majority want student loan forgiveness, living wage. So this is a garbage talking point from garbage people that, oh no, it's crazy. It's crazy to want those things. That could never happen. Really? But what happens when you point out every other country that can do the same goddamn thing? I mean, who are the crazy ones, right? To pointing at something that is completely doable and that has been done everywhere else and saying we can't do that here because what? We're exceptional? Again, they always talk about America. We're the exceptional ones. We're the best. America's the best. Really? For a country that is supposed to be the best at everything, we sure seem to suck at doing the things that actually help the American people. Again, it's ridiculous, right? But now, going back to garbage people, Miller seems to be one of those, right? So now, back in November of 2018, the New York Times revealed that his firm, called the Definers, right, was using anti-Semitic tropes about George Soros to discredit left-wing activists on Facebook. So this guy, right-wing playbook, George Soros, puppet master. Again, that is clearly anti-Semitic imagery that they are using. It's because when you go to the right and reach into their box of, tricks that they use to dupe everybody into voting for more tax cuts for the rich, essentially, and deregulation for corporations, the last thing that you pull out is anti-Semitism. It's at the bottom of the box, but it's always in there. And so the fallout from that, of course, resulted in Miller being fired from his job as a guest Republican on Pod Save America. So congratulations, Pod Save America guys. You had this guy on for a while. And the Diviners losing their contract with Facebook. Now, this is a guy that is now trying to stop Bernie Sanders. Well, I guess it would fit with his anti-Semitism because Bernie Sanders would be the first Jewish president in America. You can't have that, can they? Now, there's more. Diviner's former chief executive, Matt Rhodes, who also worked on Mitt Romney's failed 2020 presidential campaign, has since founded with former Hillary Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook the nonprofit Defending Digital Democracy Project at Harvard. Yeah. And both Rhodes and Mook worked with the Iowa Democratic Party on election security in the fall of 2019, months before the app developed by other former Clinton staffers mysteriously started malfunctioning, throwing the Iowa caucuses into complete and utter chaos. No, it had nothing to do with any of that, did it? Look, they want to stop Bernie Sanders. We know that. The people that the Democratic establishment, by the way, is teaming up with, people connected to this guy, to this Miller guy. I mean, come on, dude. Hillary Clinton staffers, political operatives, donor class, they're all teaming up with right-wingers just because they're never Trump, right? Never Trump. That's the only qualification. You can hold all of your horrible policy positions, but as long as you're saying, I don't like Donald Trump because he's rude and uncivil, well then welcome to the resistance. What are we resisting? Obviously progressives. I mean, look, they hate, the Democratic Party hates progressives more than they hate the right wing. So it's natural that they form these unholy alliances with these despicable people, because guess what? Turns out they're despicable people too. Who knew? Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.